Have you ever been holding a baby, tiny, warm, precious, and suddenly, out of nowhere, the crying begins? At first, it's just a soft whimper. But then it builds. Louder. More urgent. And no matter what you try, rocking, bouncing, whispering sweet words, the crying doesn't stop. You look down at that little face, red and scrunched up, and think, what am I missing? If this sounds familiar, you're not alone. Whether you're a grandparent, a great-grandparent, or simply helping out a family friend, caring for a baby can feel like trying to solve a riddle you weren't given the answer to. And when the baby is crying and nothing seems to help, it can be frustrating, even a little heartbreaking. But here's the truth that many parents and grandparents eventually come to understand: not all cries mean the same thing. And sometimes, the usual tricks just don't work. That's exactly why we're here today. In this video, we're going to talk about 7 ways to calm a crying baby, even when nothing else seems to work. These aren't just mom hacks or textbook tips. These are gentle, real-world techniques you can use to bring peace to those tearful moments, whether you're watching your grandchild for the afternoon or simply lending a hand to a tired young parent. Let's start with something simple but often overlooked: your presence. There's something magical about the way babies respond to calm energy. If you've been trying to soothe a baby and find yourself getting tense, it's okay to take a deep breath. Just pause. Feel your feet on the ground. Relax your shoulders. A baby can sense when the person holding them is stressed, even if you don't say a word. Sometimes, your calm presence is more powerful than any trick or technique. Now imagine this: you're holding the baby, they're crying, and nothing is working. Instead of bouncing or pacing the floor, try sitting down in a quiet room and simply holding them close, skin to skin if possible. You don't even have to speak. Just hum softly, let your heartbeat do the talking. This can remind the baby of the warmth and rhythm of the womb, a safe place where everything was predictable and calm. It sounds simple, doesn't it? But for many babies, this alone can start to ease the storm. And if it doesn't work right away, don't worry. You haven't failed. Some babies take a little more time to settle, especially if they're overtired or overstimulated. Which brings us to another powerful tool: reducing stimulation. In today's world, it's easy to forget how sensitive babies are. Even something as small as a flickering light or a loud TV can overwhelm them. If the baby's been passed around from person to person, or there's too much going on, noise, smells, even the feeling of clothes against their skin, it can all become too much. Try taking the baby to a quieter space. Dim the lights. Turn off the TV. Lower your voice. Remove any strong smells, like perfume or air fresheners. And then, hold them close and speak slowly, gently. You might say something like, "I'm right here. You're safe. You're not alone." It might feel like they can't understand the words, but they absolutely understand the tone. Sometimes, even that isn't enough. That's when you reach for something rhythmic, because rhythm is deeply soothing to a baby. Think about it. They spent months in the womb listening to a heartbeat, swaying with every step their mother took, surrounded by whooshing sounds of blood and breath. So now, you can recreate some of that rhythm. You can hold the baby close and sway gently side to side. Or walk in a slow, steady pattern across the room. Even something as small as tapping your fingers softly against their back, like a slow, heartbeat drum, can work wonders. If you've ever heard of the shushing sound that some parents make, it's not just a cute trick. It mimics the sounds of the womb. Try holding the baby upright on your shoulder and making a slow, gentle shhhhhh sound near their ear, not loud, not rushed, but soothing. It can act like a reset button for their nervous system, helping them shift out of the spiral of crying. And here's something important to remember: this isn't about fixing the baby. You're not trying to stop the crying like it's a bad behavior. Crying is how babies communicate. It's how they tell us they need something, even if that something is just comfort, safety, closeness. Sometimes, we get caught up in wondering, is the baby hungry? Is it gas? Is it a dirty diaper? And those are all important to check. But if you've gone through the basics and the crying continues, the baby may simply need a connection. It might help to picture yourself as an anchor in a storm. You can't stop the waves, but you can keep the baby from drifting too far. Your warmth, your voice, your steady breathing, all of it reminds them they're not alone. Now, calming a crying baby isn't always easy, even with all the experience in the world. But it's also one of the most deeply human acts we can offer, being there for someone who can't yet speak, can't yet understand the world, but who can absolutely feel when they are loved. Sometimes, all it takes is holding on, being still, and riding it out together. And once you've tried being that calm anchor and creating a quiet, soothing space, there's another approach we can turn to, one that taps into a baby's sense of motion and comfort in an entirely different way. One of the most time-tested ways to calm a baby, especially when they seem completely inconsolable, is gentle motion. And I don't just mean rocking back and forth or walking in circles, although those can help. I'm talking about trying different types of movement until something clicks. For some babies, a slow, rhythmic sway does the trick. For others, it's more of a bouncy, up and down motion, like walking briskly or gently bouncing on a yoga ball if you happen to have one at home. You'd be surprised how often grandparents discover that a little change in how they move while holding the baby makes all the difference. One woman I spoke to, her name was Linda, a grandmother of 6, shared how her youngest grandchild would cry nonstop unless she did this specific figure-8 motion with her hips while holding him. I looked like I was doing a dance from the 60s, she laughed, but he'd stop crying within minutes. It just goes to show, sometimes we need to get a little creative and trust our instincts. Babies, after all, are individuals. What works for one may not work for another. And if motion alone doesn't help, there's something else to try: white noise. Now, if you haven't used white noise before, it might sound a little strange. But think back to the womb. Remember we talked about all those whooshing, humming, heartbeat sounds a baby hears before they're born? White noise mimics those comforting sounds. It creates a sound blanket that helps block out sudden noises and can help regulate a baby's nervous system. There are white noise machines, of course, but you don't need anything fancy. A running bathroom fan, the hum of a vacuum cleaner, even a softly played recording on your phone can work just as well. Some grandparents even swear by an old trick, turning the radio to a static channel and letting it play softly nearby. And here's something interesting: white noise isn't just for babies. It can help us adults, too. If you've ever had trouble sleeping and tried a little background sound, you probably already know how calming it can be. The beauty is, when you use it for a baby, it sends a signal that says, you're safe. You can relax now. So let's say you've tried the swaying, the shushing, the dim room. You've got a nice hum going in the background, and still, the baby is wailing. Before you feel defeated, there's another surprisingly powerful method to consider: holding the baby in a different position. Most people instinctively hold a baby cradled in their arms, facing up. But here's something to try next time the crying won't stop. Turn the baby around so they're facing down, lying across your forearm, their head resting in the crook of your elbow, their belly gently pressing against your arm. We used to call this the football hold, though I like to think of it more as a tummy comfort hold. This position can help relieve pressure if the baby has gas or digestion issues, and many crying fits come from those very things. Their little tummies are still adjusting to the world, and the slightest discomfort can feel huge to them. So having that gentle pressure on the belly, combined with a firm, secure hold, can be exactly what they need. And while you're doing that, try walking or swaying, maybe add a soft hum or pat on the back. You'd be amazed how quickly a distressed baby can go from shrieking to sighing in relief. Again, it's not about being perfect. It's about offering steady comfort while their tiny systems find balance. Something else worth mentioning, and this one often surprises people, is that sometimes a baby cries because they're too tired to fall asleep. Yes, it sounds backward, doesn't it? But think of it this way: have you ever been so tired you just couldn't settle down? Maybe your mind kept racing, or your body felt jumpy. Babies get that way too. Only instead of saying, "Wow, I really need a nap," they cry. In those moments, keeping things as calm and consistent as possible becomes your best tool. A gentle lullaby, a familiar scent like your shirt or their blanket, a steady rocking motion, all these small comforts build up to create the right environment for sleep. You're helping their little bodies and minds shift from overstimulated to safe and secure. I remember one grandfather who said he used to walk figure eights in his kitchen every night at 8 p.m. to get his grandson to sleep. He said it became such a ritual that the baby would start yawning as soon as they walked into the kitchen. That's the power of consistency and connection. It's the same kind of comfort we all long for, no matter our age. And through all of this, it's important to remember, you're not just calming the baby. You're building trust. Every time you respond with patience, every time you hold them through the tears, you're teaching them something powerful, that they are not alone. That their feelings matter. That someone is there to hold them, even when the world feels overwhelming. So if you ever find yourself thinking, why won't this baby stop crying? Pause and give yourself some grace. You're not doing anything wrong. Crying is how babies speak. And soothing them isn't about stopping the sound, it's about answering the call. Now, once you've explored soothing with motion, white noise, and the power of physical comfort, there's another gentle approach you might not have thought about, something simple, but often overlooked in our eagerness to fix things. Sometimes, what a baby needs isn't more movement or more sound, it's less. It might be as simple, and as profound, as just being held. It's easy to fall into the mindset of doing, rocking, pacing, bouncing, shushing, trying every soothing technique in the book. But every now and then, what a crying baby truly needs is simply to be held with presence and stillness. Just you, and them, and a moment of quiet connection. There's a kind of strength in stillness. You become a safe harbor. A baby can feel that calm like a soft blanket around them. You don't even need to speak. Just let your breath slow down, let your arms stay steady, and feel the gentle weight of their body resting against yours. Even if they're still fussing, you're holding space for them, saying, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And that kind of steady reassurance is one of the most powerful things we can give, at any age. Now, all that said, there is one more technique that might surprise you, a change of scenery. And no, I don't mean taking a baby on a grand adventure. I mean stepping outside, even just onto the porch or near an open window. Fresh air can work wonders. Think about how you feel after being cooped up inside all day. Sometimes a bit of breeze, the sound of birds, the feel of natural light on your skin, it changes everything. Babies feel that too. A simple walk around the backyard or a few quiet minutes on the porch swing can gently reset their mood. The new sights, the rhythm of walking, the fresh air in their lungs, all of it adds up. One grandfather told me he started a little ritual with his granddaughter. Whenever she had a long crying spell, he'd scoop her up, tuck her in close, and take her to the front porch. We'd just sit and listen to the wind chimes, he said. She'd stop crying within minutes. Every time. Sometimes nature provides the lullaby we didn't know we needed. And let's not forget how healing that little breath of fresh air can be for us, too. If you've been inside all day trying to soothe a baby, stepping outside can help you reset just as much as it helps them. You're in this together. Your energy affects theirs, and theirs affects you. So if stepping outside gives you a moment to breathe deeper, even that alone can shift the mood. But what happens when you've tried everything, and the crying still won't stop? When the baby is fed, changed, warm, and safe, but the tears keep flowing? That's when we remember that sometimes babies just cry. Not because we've done something wrong, and not because they're broken or spoiled or difficult, but because they're babies. Their nervous systems are still developing. They don't know how to process all the new sights, sounds, feelings, and sensations of this world. So in those moments, your job isn't to fix the crying. It's to walk through it with them. To be their calm in the chaos. And if you need to, it's okay to hand the baby to someone else for a few minutes and take a short break. Step into another room. Breathe. Gather yourself. It's not weakness, it's wisdom. You can't pour from an empty cup, and that applies to grandparenting just as much as parenting. Many older adults tell me they're afraid they're out of practice. that it's been years since they held a newborn or dealt with a screaming baby. But I want to remind you, your wisdom, your patience, your presence, they matter. Maybe even more now than they ever have. You don't need fancy techniques. You don't need all the modern baby gadgets. What babies need, what they've always needed, is love, warmth, steadiness, and someone who isn't afraid to be with them in the hard moments. And you know what? That's exactly what you bring to the table. Maybe your hands aren't as quick as they once were, or your knees protest a little more than they used to when you walk the floor. But you've got something far more valuable: experience. You know what it means to show up, to stay calm under pressure, to offer quiet strength when others are overwhelmed. That crying baby in your arms? They don't care about perfection. They care about your heartbeat, your voice, your scent, your hands, your warmth. They care that you're there. And when the crying stops, and it will stop, you'll feel it in your bones. That deep sense of, yes, I helped. I held on. I was there. And that, my friend, is what matters most. So the next time you're holding a crying baby and nothing seems to be working, don't panic. You've got this. Whether it's a change of motion, a little white noise, fresh air, or simply the power of stillness and your loving arms, you have more tools than you think. And more love to give than you probably realize. We don't always get the thanks. Babies can't say, "Wow, you really pulled me through that tough patch." But trust me, every moment of your calm, your care, your kindness, it matters. You're helping them learn about the world, about safety, about love. And if no one else has told you today, you're doing a beautiful job. Thank you for being the kind of person who shows up, who tries, who loves deeply, even when it's hard. If this video resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you've used one of these techniques, or you have your own tried-and-true method for calming a crying baby. Share it in the comments. We can all learn from each other. And if you found this helpful, give the video a like and subscribe for more warm, practical tips on caring for the little ones and yourself. There's so much wisdom in this community, and I'm so grateful you're here. Until next time, take care of yourself. Keep showing up. And remember, you're never too old to make a difference in someone's life, especially the tiniest ones.